Oh, Lee, this is one of your two carburetors that have been rebuilt, B6295. And the other one, number one carburetor, is 25728. And we're going to take a quick tour of these carburetors. These are not the ones that got the full machine shop treatment. Just this number one carburetor got machine shop work on it. As I said, that was that freebie for you. How you can tell the difference is that these have aluminum plate right here that makes up for the space where the aluminum plate is to replace material that was removed from the mounting flange where it bolts to the intake manifold. And you notice over on this carburetor that did not get the machine work, there is no aluminum plate. So this carburetor here is all original. It has just been cleaned up. This one has received new bushings where bushings didn't exist before, new throttle shafts, custom-made throttle shafts, and new butterflies. The bores inside the throats have been machined and trued to be in alignment with the throttle shafts. And of course new butterflies inside. Something else that you received here was helicoils on these screw holes because they were pulled out. These are original and are in fabulous condition. They didn't require any helicoils. Helicoils have been installed underneath here on the accelerator pump bodies, and the reason for that is those threads eventually pull out. Of course, as you can see, all new plating has been used. It's all cadmium plating. Second barrel vacuum diaphragms have been replaced with, have been rebuilt with new diaphragms inside. And you can tell these are factory diaphragms because the gaskets are red. Same with down here. The aftermarket gaskets are black. What else can I tell? Let's see, on this, these are the idle mixture screws, and these are always closed off on the second barrel of each carburetor. The car does not use these on the, to idle. These are what adjust your idle mixture, and they only operate on the first barrel of each carburetor. So these are the only places you're going to do any tuning. This is the G55 idle jet. This is the only thing that controls your idle. If your idle is no longer functioning, or for instance if you go on the motorway and you come off the motorway after high-speed work, high-speed driving, and the car drops and you back off on the throttle and it stops running, it's because the idle circuit is clogged up, and it's because one of these jets is clogged. And since it only idles on the first barrel of each carburetor, only the first barrel idle jet is functioning. All you have to do, real easy, just unscrew it, lift it out, clean it out. There's a little teeny hole in the end of it, and clean that hole out, or blow some carb cleaner in down to the hole that's inside the carburetor body. Ordinarily it's just a little piece of grit that's stuck in here. The hole is so small you can barely tell that it's there. Lee, these are your carburetors running and operating my mule test engine. I have allowed the engine to warm up. The only time you can tune these carburetors is when the engine is warmed up and the carburetors are warmed up. What you want to do for tuning purposes is you disconnect the throttle linkage, so each one of these, each carb is independent, and what you're going to be doing is using this thing called the synchrometer, BK2, and what you're doing is measuring the airflow out of each barrel of the carburetor. Now, this carburetor was not machined, and this is just the way it came from the factory, the way it's worn, and what you're doing is reading about 4.5 on the scale right there in terms of airflow. And over here on the number one carburetor that was machined, you're reading about 2, and the difference is in the machine work. There's 2, and over here reading 4.5. Now then, what makes that difference is this butterfly right in here. Now every once in a while, what you can do is you can artificially make this lower by pushing on this counterweight, and that closes the butterfly. But unfortunately, the butterfly doesn't want to stay in that position. It wants to pop open. And the reason, again, is the machine work. But all you want to make sure is when you're tuning this carburetor, you want to make sure as little airflow is going through as possible. And then what you're going to do is you come here and you're going to synchronize the airflow going through the first barrel. And it's running about 4.5, running about 4.5 because I've already tuned these. Now all you do to adjust this is you simply screw in your idle screw, or screw it out as need be. And you can see the idle is jumped up, and we're running about 7. Well, we don't want to run 7. So what we're going to do is I'm going to simply back off the idle screw until I get down to 4. There's 4. Now we compare that with our number 2 carb. There's 4.5. So what I want to do is go back here and get 4. 4.5 rather. Alright, that's synchronizing the airflow. Next thing you're going to do is idle mixture screws. These are your mixture screws, and what you do is you make sure the second barrel screw is blanked off, is screwed down tight, just snug it down, and then you screw this one in until the idle drops off, back it out until the idle drops off, and find your midpoint. Idle is faltering. Back out, there's half turn, half turn. Half turn falter, so we're going back in about half, maybe 3/4 of a turn in that area. Now we're going to go do the number 1, which is at the machine work, and you see the difference. Half a turn, it falters. Half a turn, it falters. Find our midpoint, right in the middle. We are adjusted. That's your idle mixture. And then snap your linkage back on to make sure that, nothing changes when the linkage is snapped in place. Make sure nothing is changed in terms of the idle. That means your linkage is okay. You adjust this obviously to fit your particular carburetors. And we come back to our idle. And now I've got you set. And now I've got you set at about That's 7. It's 600. It's idling about. You're idling about 550, which is not bad for an unmachined set of carburetors. You can see by the idle speed usually runs about 850 or 900, but you can see this idles very nicely at 550. A good set of carburetors. RPM idle. Now I'm going to switch over to the tachometer. So